February 13th, 2017. Delphi, Indiana. Two 13-year-old girls, Abigail Williams and Liberty German, went for a hike on the Monon High Bridge Trail. They never came home. The next day, their bodies were found less than a mile from where they were last seen, and for 5 years, nobody knew who killed them. But Liberty German did something that would eventually solve her own murder. She recorded her killer on her phone, video and audio, and that evidence just helped convict Richard Allen. After 7 years, after millions of tips, after a town that lived in fear. Today we're breaking down exactly what happened, what the trial revealed, and how a case that went cold for years finally found justice. The day they disappeared. February 13th, 2017 was supposed to be a normal day. Schools were closed for a snow day. Abby Williams and Libby German, both 13 and best friends, decided to go hiking. Libby's older sister dropped them off at the Monon High Bridge Trail around 1 p.m., an old railroad bridge, abandoned, about 60 feet high, popular with local kids. The plan was simple: hike the trail, take photos, get picked up later. At 2:07 p.m., Libby posted a photo on Snapchat, Abby walking across the bridge. Nothing seemed wrong. That was the last time anyone heard from them. When Libby's father arrived to pick them up, they weren't there. He searched, called their phones, nothing. By 5:30 p.m., police were called. By nightfall, search teams were combing the woods. The next day, February 14th, 2017, their bodies were found, less than a mile from the bridge, in a wooded area near Deer Creek. Both had been murdered. The evidence that changed everything. Here's where this case became different from almost any other unsolved murder. Liberty German recorded her killer. On her phone, police found a video, grainy, shaky, but clear enough. A man walking behind them on the bridge, and audio. 4 words: down the hill. Police released the video and audio to the public. A man in a blue jacket, jeans, hands in pockets, walking across the Monon High Bridge, and that voice. Commanding, calm. This was the killer. Libby knew something was wrong. She recorded him. At 13 years old, knowing she was in danger, and that evidence would eventually solve the case. But it took 5 years. The investigation that went nowhere. In the days after the murders, tips flooded in, thousands of them. People thought they recognized the voice, the walk, the jacket. Police released 2 different sketches. The first, an older man, 40s to 50s. The second, a younger man, late teens to early 20s. The sketches looked completely different. The case went national. Every true crime podcast covered it. Reddit threads dissected every detail, and nothing happened. Years passed. 2018, 2019, 2020. The case went cold. The town of Delphi lived in fear. Was the killer still among them? Families of the victims kept the case alive. They did interviews, they pushed for answers, they refused to let people forget about Abby and Libby. And then, in October 2022, something changed. The arrest that shocked everyone. October 26, 2022, police arrested Richard Allen, 50 years old, married, worked at a local CVS pharmacy in Delphi. He wasn't some drifter. He wasn't a stranger. He lived there. He worked there. He'd been part of the community the entire time. And here's the part that made everyone's blood run cold. People in Delphi knew him. They'd interacted with him, had no idea. He was hiding in plain sight. The arrest shocked the town. How had it taken 5 years? How had he been there the whole time? And the evidence against him was about to get even more damning. The trial that revealed everything. The trial started in October 2024, 7 years after the murders. And what came out in that courtroom was chilling. Here's what prosecutors presented. Richard Allen had confessed multiple times to his wife, to his mother, to a psychologist, to correctional officers, over 60 times total. He said he killed them. He described details only the killer would know. He talked about how he did it. His defense argued the confessions were the result of mental health issues. That solitary confinement broke him, that he was psychotic and didn't know what he was saying. But prosecutors had more. A ballistics expert testified that an unspent round found at the crime scene had been cycled through Richard Allen's gun, his specific gun. The markings matched, meaning a bullet from his gun was loaded, cycled through the chamber, and ejected at the scene where Abby and Libby were murdered. And then there was the timeline. Richard Allen had placed himself at the bridge that day. He'd told police in 2017 that he was there. Walking the trails, wearing a blue jacket and jeans, at the exact time Abby and Libby were there. He matched the description from the video. He was at the location. He confessed. and the ballistics matched. The defense argued there was no DNA, no forensic evidence directly tying him to the girls, that the confessions were unreliable. But on November 11th, 2024, the jury didn't buy it. Guilty on all counts. 2 counts of murder, 2 counts of felony murder. Richard Allen was convicted of killing Abigail Williams and Liberty German. What the trial revealed. Here's what we learned from the trial. Richard Allen had been interviewed early in the investigation. In 2017, he voluntarily came forward, said he'd been on the trails that day, described what he was wearing, and then the lead went nowhere. For years, that tip sat in a box, unreviewed. It wasn't until 2022, when investigators went back through old tips, that someone noticed it. Richard Allen, blue jacket, jeans. On the bridge, the exact time, the exact description, and when they pulled him in for questioning, he admitted it could be him. He admitted he was there. He admitted he was wearing those clothes, but he denied killing them until he was arrested, and then he confessed. Over and over. He told his wife he did it. He told his mother. He apologized. He said he made sure they died quickly. He said he wanted to sexually assault them, but got spooked when a van drove by. The details were horrific, and they matched the evidence. Why it took 7 years. This is the question everyone's asking. How did it take 7 years to catch someone who lived in the same town, who admitted he was there? The answer is investigative failure. The tip about Richard Allen being on the bridge that day was filed and forgotten. It sat in a box for 5 years. Nobody followed up. It wasn't until new investigators took over in 2022 and went back through every single tip that someone noticed. Richard Allen, bridge guy, same clothes, same time, same place. And once they looked at him, everything fell apart. The gun matched, the confessions came, the timeline aligned. He'd been there the whole time, working at CVS, living his life, while 2 families waited for justice. The verdict and what's next. Richard Allen now faces up to 130 years in prison. Sentencing is scheduled for December 20th, 2024. He will likely spend the rest of his life in prison. And for the families of Abby and Libby, there's finally some measure of justice. But it doesn't bring them back. It doesn't erase 7 years of waiting. 7 years of not knowing. Liberty German's recording of her killer is one of the most important pieces of evidence in modern true crime history. At 13 years old, knowing she was in danger, she recorded him. And that evidence, combined with investigative persistence, finally brought her killer to justice. The Delphi murders haunted a community for 7 years. The man who did it walked among them. And nobody knew. But Liberty German made sure he wouldn't get away with it forever. Down the hill. Those 4 words. Recorded by a 13-year-old girl. Helped solve her own murder. And Richard Allen will spend the rest of his life paying for what he did on February 13th, 2017. Justice delayed, but justice delivered.